there was probably a thought that went through your mind at some point that sounded something like this. Oh, crap. I thought we were on the easy side of the bracket. The Texans' defense looks absolutely monstrous. And that's true. They did look really good in that game. Looked like they had weaknesses, but they did look really good, just like the offense. Looks like it has weaknesses. Looks like it is flawed around the edges, but very, very good. There is an article titled, Houston Texans Dominant Defense Can Hang with AFC's Best Playoff Teams, from the 33rd Team by Tyler Brook. And I wanted to take some of this article and go over it here. It begins with this. The Houston Texans were underdogs heading into the AFC wildcard round. Technically, not true. They were the higher seed, though probably in practice no one believed that they were going to beat the Chargers. I admit I was among them. But another elite defensive performance has the franchise looking like a much more difficult out than originally anticipated. Heading into Saturday's game, the Texans were 3-point underdogs despite having a home game against the Los Angeles Chargers. That didn't seem to faze Houston, with the team finding a way to pull off a 32-12 win despite some hiccups from the offense. DeMeco Ryans' defense was suffocating in the win. The Chargers' offense was held to just 4.8 yards per play, which was skewed by some explosive shots with the game out of hand to go along with 4 interceptions and 4 sacks. I will say, Ladd McConkey did have I talked about this in this morning's video too, only talk about the Chiefs on this channel if you're not subscribed. Ladd McConkey would have had a good game even without that long touchdown. Not nearly as good a game, but still would have been a good game. So if the Chiefs can reverse engineer a little bit about what it is between Herbert and McConkey that made that game go, it would serve them well. Turnovers were massive for Houston, but it was Eric Murray's pick 6 that put the game away in the third quarter. Absolutely electric. Houston's regular season defense. For anyone paying attention to the Texans this season, such a dominant defensive performance shouldn't have been a surprise. I will say that we played the Texans, the Chiefs played the Texans not that long ago, and that defense didn't look like that against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that depending on maybe which games it was that you saw, it would be a surprise. But the article continues. What am I doing here? According to FTN Fantasy, the Texans finished the season 3rd in defensive DVOA and 3rd against the run and pass. They were also 5th in yards allowed per game and total takeaways, with 29 forced turnovers. While Houston was in the middle of the road as far as points allowed, a lot of that was due to an offense that struggled to put them in advantageous positions, ranking 26th in offensive DVOA. However, on a play-by-play basis, the Texans' defense was one of the most explosive in football. According to True Media, it led the NFL in havoc rate, but it was also second in defensive success rate. Are you ready for this graph? Because it's going to make you a little queasy, especially knowing that the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line is maybe not the strength of this team. Oh, come on. Right here. There's the Texans right up there. Havoc rate and defensive success. So here's the Chiefs, by the way, right smack in the middle. Very interesting pairing there. However, that personnel leaned into Houston's biggest defensive strength, which is its young and talented secondary. Even without slot defender Jalen Petrie, the Texans have talented defensive backs like Derek Stingley Jr., Kamari Lassiter, Callan Bullock, and others who have been ball-hawking playmakers. So, by the way, the Patrick Mahomes threw 0 interceptions the first time these two teams saw each other. Only 1 touchdown, only 260 yards, but 0 interceptions. Along with that, 5 runs for 33 yards and a touchdown that really kind of changed the game. Justin Herbert in that game yesterday had 0 listed carries. 0. He did not run the ball. Along with a playmaking secondary, the Texans also have a dominant and aggressive defensive front. Pass rushers Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. can collapse the pocket, while linebackers Henry To'o and Azeez Al-Shaair, who, by the way, Azeez, the Chiefs did not face him last time. He was suspended. So that is something that is something new that they will be seeing this time around, form one of the best linebacking duos in the league. Talent, scheme, and mentality had the Texans dominate the regular season, carrying that into the playoffs. Now, here is where we can start to learn a little bit about the Chiefs' role in this. A shutdown performance. Early on, it looked like the Texans might be in trouble because Houston primarily uses nickel packages. The Chargers opened up in heavy personnel packages while utilizing gap scheme runs like trap, counter, and power. While the opening drive sputtered with just a field goal, it looked like the Chargers had a formula to gash Houston's defense. This is something, in my opinion, that the Kansas City Chiefs should absolutely take note of. They do have a couple of big running backs in Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine. They do have one of the best tight ends in the game, the best tight end in the game in Travis Kelce, and probably, maybe, the best backup tight end, one of the better backup tight ends in the league in Noah Gray, at least as far as receiving threats are concerned. You add into that the fact that they do have speed at the wide receiver position in the form of Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, even when they have a heavy personnel on the field. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs have an interesting personnel matchup set for these Texans should they decide to use it. The article itself carries on saying, that quickly disappeared, however. The Texans' defense adjusted to the Chargers' run game, completely bottling it up for the rest of the game. Los Angeles finished the game with just 50 rushing yards on 18 carries, averaging 2.8 yards per rushing attempt, and their longest run was only 8 yards. The passing game wasn't any better for the Chargers. Justin Herbert was pressured on 50% of his dropbacks, the second highest pressure rate of the season for the talented quarterback. According to Pro Football Focus, Herbert completed just 2 of 12 passes for a touchdown and 2 interceptions, a 48.6 passer rating when under duress on Saturday. I dare say that won't be Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is going to make a throw and complete it. Mahomes is going to tuck the ball and run. Justin Herbert seemed reticent to just tuck the ball and run. Mahomes, especially in the playoffs, is absolutely fantastic at gashing a defense right up the middle when everyone has dropped back into a zone. Even when Herbert could throw from a clean pocket, he was rarely able to find open receivers. ESPN's Ben Solak shared that while Herbert had 3.12 seconds to throw on average, he faced the second highest tight window rate of the season, passing into tight windows on 28.1% of his passes. A huge credit goes to Houston's 2 young cornerbacks, Stingley and Lassiter. When targeted, the 2 allowed catches of just 7 of 14 targets for 87 yards and 3 interceptions, for a passer rating of just 30.06. Even when they weren't coming away with interceptions, the 2 were making impactful plays, including this crucial 4th down stop from Stingley. And then they have a video in there. Derek Stingley Jr. had 4 tackles and a career-high 5 passes defensed and 2 interceptions. The pass rush was just stifling for the Texans. 4 different players generated at least 3 pressures. 4 different players generated at least 3 pressures in the game, combining for 21 pressures and 4 sacks as a team. Will Anderson Jr. led the way with 1.5 sacks, but also had a pair of pass breakups when he wasn't able to get home. Few teams have the horses to pair an imposing pass rush with a ball-hawking secondary, but the Texans have the defensive balance that could help them make a deep playoff run. That is absolutely true. The Kansas City Chiefs, I think, probably are the best team in the NFL this season, evidenced by the fact that they probably could have easily gone 16-1 had they decided to play that final week of the season. That does not mean they can take these Houston Texans very lightly. It seems that the Chargers did take the Texans lightly. If you watched some of the games that the Chargers played this year, I don't think you would have expected the game that they came forward with against the Texans in the playoffs. The Texans had shown sort of signs of life, signs of being who this team was in that game all season long. Every once in a while, they've had a standard good defensive effort this season, but the offense every once in a while looks absolutely great. Not nearly from C.J. Stroud what it was that you saw from him last year, but every once in a while he still, for stretches of time, looks really, really good. For stretches of time in that game, he looked really, really good. And there was a couple times that he made absolutely boneheaded moves that I don't understand where they came from. So this article about the Texans' defense should, I think, hearten Chiefs fans. Why? If this is about the Texans' defense being so good, why would the Chiefs like to hear that? Well, there was that small section talking about jumbo sets. The Kansas City Chiefs absolutely love jumbo sets. Brett Veach has been trying to find a standard 4th tight end for about 3 years now because they love multiple tight ends so much. Maybe it would be a little bit concerning because the Chargers did abandon the run, and we know that Andy Reid, if there's one thing Andy Reid loves more than a cheeseburger, it's Patrick Mahomes. If there's one thing Andy Reid loves more than Patrick Mahomes, it's abandoning the run. And the Chiefs, I said it in the video this morning, I don't think the Chiefs want to abandon the run in this game. The first time the Chiefs and the Texans played this year, Kareem Hunt went 11 for 55, a 5-yard average, good stuff. And then Isaiah Pacheco had a 2.9-yard average. So it seems there is a type of back to whom this Texans defense does surrender yards. And it's not the scatterback fast guy. It's the thud back. And that is a problem with jumbo sets. I wonder if we will see some I formation in this game. I wonder if we will see Noah Gray motioning behind the line, turning into a de facto fullback in this game. I wonder if we will see I wonder if we will see jumbo packages with 2 tight ends to the same side in this game. Basically, goal line offense at midfield. That might be what it takes. I think that the Chiefs, against this defense, have the tools that it takes to win. Obviously, they beat the Texans not too long ago, but this defense for the Texans looked markedly improved over the, and, who knows? It could have just been a good game. It could have been that the Chargers did not take the Texans seriously. Things like this happen all the time in the playoffs, especially in the wild card round. You can look back at it. But the Chiefs do have to dot their I's, cross their T's, and buckle their belt, because it's not going to be an easy out, like the article says. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that we do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing that I talk about on the channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.